they would stop at the limber, get all of their implements, everything that they're going to need. Some of them need gloves, some of them need. Number 3 man has a punch that he uses, and he uses brass punch. Why do you think he'd use brass? Oh, dry fire. Number 1 man has a sponge. He's going to sponge it with a wet sponge, damp sponge. That way, if there's anything burning inside there, when we run a pound of powder down, it won't explode on us. Yeah. So we're trying to make it as safe as possible. Number 3 man in the back has a thumb stall. You notice he's got his thumb up on it. That keeps oxygen from going into the tube before it's fired. So without oxygen, you don't have fire, right? That's one of the things you have to have fire. So to make it as safe as possible, he's keeping any extra oxygen going in. The gunner actually aims, and he's the one that commands the gun itself.
Ready.
How's your ears?
We're not firing yet. They're just going through a drill first so that we can talk about
Tell
it.
us when, yeah.
They puncture the round. If you notice the number 3 man, he run that, and it's made out of brass. The little punch he uses is made out of brass. Why do you think it's made out of brass? If you take 2 pieces of steel, smack them together, what happens? Here it is. It sparks. But brass on steel doesn't spark. So we until that man puts this in, it's not ready to fire. So you can watch what they're doing. Each man has a job. The number 1 man sees there with a rammer. Since this is a muzzle loader, you got to load everything from the muzzle of the gun. That's why it's called a muzzle loader. It can't load from the breech. It's got to load from the muzzle. So we have to have a rammer, and he runs the charge all the way down to the breech of the gun. The gunner's now going to aim. He can set elevation with that screw on the bottom, elevating screw.
Ready.
They can move it with the hand spot. Now he's going to puncture the round. That opens up the bag so that it exposes the powder to the primer. Primer goes in. Stretch out the lanyard. Notice the guys are outside the wheel and back behind the muzzle. He's going to nod off the number 3 man. He gets outside the wheel because if we were shooting a projectile, this thing would roll back about 5 or 6 feet, sometimes 8 or 10 feet. Okay, now we're ready to fire. So if you want to close your ears, this is a half of a charge that we would normally use. It's just half. On you, Sergeant.
Fire.
Now, watch them. Notice that number 3 man goes back, closes that up.